So today I'm going to tell you the story of how we came to have 5 little ducklings. Hi everybody, welcome back to Sawdust and Cornbread. I'm Laura Lee, and these are 2 of 5 of my newest friends. Thanks so much for joining me on the channel today. If you are a first-time guest, be sure to like this video and subscribe. I put out new material every week. So how did we come to have ducks? Well, it turns out I'm allergic to chicken eggs. Ducks produce eggs that have a completely different protein. So by trial and error, we figured out I can have duck eggs with no problem. I can eat just a duck egg like you would a scrambled chicken egg. With duck eggs, not only do they bake up better in all of the baked goods, they don't hurt my stomach at all. We are going to raise these sweet little ducklings so that we can have fresh eggs, but also because I love ducks. I always have. They are the sweetest little things. I'm not completely new to having poultry. I had a few when I was little. We are by no means farmers or homesteaders. This is a new experience for us. I elected to get a straight run. We don't know what sex they are. We don't know what breed they are. What I'm hoping I have here are 5 little female Pekin ducks. Pekins are the typical duck that everybody thinks of. Donald duck, the Aflac duck. They're solid white. They have a bright orange beak and bright orange webbed feet. When they're ducklings, you want to look for a solid yellow duck with bright orange feet. Does that mean these are Pekins? Not necessarily. They don't have any brown on them yet, but you're going to watch these guys grow and develop with us, and your guess is as good as ours whether or not we got Pekin. I wanted Pekins because they are so friendly. They love kids. They love animals. They have cute little personalities. They're well-tempered. They're good egg layers. Their wings are too small for their weight, so they're not flyers. So you may ask, why don't you know if they're male or female? With ducklings, their organs are all on the inside. So you would have to be a veterinarian and do a thorough examination to find out. You don't want to do that yourself because you could really harm the ducklings. All I could do when selecting these little guys was use an educated guess. There are some little clues or indicators that they are females that I tried to use. The females are usually smaller than the males, smaller body and build, smaller bills, smaller feet. The females are usually chattier and they have higher pitched voices. Females are typically more active, and the males, this is nature, not me saying this, the males are pretty lazy, laid back, and they have deep voices. I'm hoping we have at least 3 hens. All of the hens, all of the little girls are going to stay with us, and all of the drakes, or the males, are going to go with our friends over at Empty Hammock, Barry, and Molly. We could end up with all 5 females. We could end up sending all of these guys over to Barry and Molly. In that case, we'll be starting all over again. I'm so happy we're able to share this experience with you. Now, join me on the journey of their gotcha day, the day that we adopted 5 little yellow balls of fluff. Here's how it all went down. The first order of business was to stop by our local big box hardware store and pick up 2 sturdy totes. That way one would always be clean and ready. Next, I picked up a paint grid and a paint pan. This is my secret trick for keeping their water a lot less messy. I'll give more information on that hack in an upcoming video. Then I checked out and it was off to Rural King to pick up the babies. It's a pretty cold and rainy day, and all I could think about is how am I going to keep these tiny little ducklings who are under a heat lamp all snuggled up with their brothers and sisters. How am I going to keep them warm on this cold rainy day? As I pulled into the parking lot, I started thinking of ways I could maybe wrap it in my jacket. Before I chose the ducklings, I had to make sure I had a good starter food for them and a heating lamp. This is a chick feeding trough. It's for chickens, but I'm actually going to use that for water and use this round one for the food. Again, I'll tell you why in a future video. This is medium pine shavings, and of course we had to stop and say hello to all the bunnies and the other animals that were there in the store today. I love his hair. Once we arrived at the section where all of the birds are, I was really impressed with the selection they had, all different kinds of breeds of chickens and ducks. And how in the world am I supposed to choose from all these adorable little fuzzy faces? There were so many ducks. I used what little knowledge that I have to try to pick out the healthiest and most likely female ducks that I could see. And so I ended up getting 5 of those. I originally was going to order my ducklings so that I knew they were Pekin and that they were female. But in order to do that, I'd have to order a minimum of 10. I'm not quite ready to deal with 10 ducklings at this point. So I took my chances. And this one was really fast. It was trying to get away from him, so I had to have little Speedy. He's such a cute little thing. Here they are in their little box that they travel home in. It's so cute. It looks like a little house. It reminds me of the Build-A-Bear boxes that kids take their Build-A-Bears home in. And their first little ride in the buggy, I'm not sure how much they enjoyed it. Now we're ready to come home. And the first thing I wanted to do was introduce them very gently, very calmly to all of the other animals in the house. I couldn't introduce them to the cat just yet because he was hiding downstairs. Too much commotion for him. I let the dogs sniff the box that they were in and hear the ducklings. Then I slowly opened it, and our little Cavalier Chihuahua mix was the first one to see them, and he didn't know what to think of them. He was curious but apprehensive, but at least there was no aggression, and so I was very pleased that this was a calm introduction. I began placing them in the brooder that I had prepared with all of the supplies that I bought beforehand. In go the ducklings, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and 5, under the watchful eye of the dogs. And along comes one of our beagles. They were really my biggest concern. I was afraid that hunting instinct would kick right in and they would try to gobble them up. But I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised, at how gentle they really are with the ducklings. They like to sniff them and lick their heads, and they're really protective of them at this point. The first night, they sat by that crate with the little ducklings in it and kept watch. They took turns keeping watch, and if the cat got anywhere nearby, they would run the cat away and protect the ducklings. It was the cutest thing. So here I am filling up their box with some more pine shavings, their food, and their water. And that tray under the water is a lifesaver. If you're going to get ducklings, be sure to watch that future video because it saves a huge mess in the trough that you're keeping them in. One thing that is true for ducks as well as ducklings is they love water. They love drinking it, they love playing in it, they love splashing it all over. And by using the chick feeder as a watering hole for them, it was perfect because they couldn't crawl in it and splash around. That's a great thing to start out with. And here are the two, I call them the furry dog mothers. They just want to hover over those ducklings and keep an eye on them. They're curious. I'm still never going to leave them out in the open with the beagles because, nature is nature. But for the time being, they are just sweetly watching over and protecting their little baby ducklings. Here are the ducks all snuggled up and sleeping right there in their cage. And they have 2 modes, full on, full throttle, moving, wiggling, making lots of noise, or they're asleep. And right now at this stage, it's pretty much one or the other, nothing in between. They make the sweetest little sounds while they're sleeping. I'm going to miss that when they get bigger and that changes to a quack. But at that point, they'll be outside in their own little house. But for now, we'll just savor all the cuddles and love. As long as you have more than one in your hand or your arms, they cuddle up and they get warm and they can't keep those little eyes open. It is the sweetest thing. They fall right to sleep in your arms, and it's so relaxing to hold the little soft, fuzzy, warm bodies against you. It makes you drowsy too. I've really enjoyed having the ducklings so far. Once we adopted them, they're probably only 1 or 2 weeks old, so they're going to do a lot of growing and changing, and I'm going to miss these little snuggly, cuddly moments, but I know that there's going to be lots of exciting changes that come up, and you're going to be right there with us all along the way. It's going to be interesting to see if they do feather out in all white feathers, meaning they probably are Pekins. And it's also going to be interesting once they get those feathers to see if they have that signature drake feather on their tail. That's the only way we'll be able to know which one are males. But until then, I'm just going to keep on holding and loving these 5 little sweethearts and sharing all of the cute experiences and all the funny things that they do with each of you. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this little documentary or duck chronicles. I'll be uploading some duck cam footage regularly, and it'll just be ducks and ducklings doing their duck and duckling things, so you and your kids may enjoy that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be doing all kinds of informational and fun things with the ducks on a regular basis, as well as all of the other regular DIYs and ways to save money. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Say goodbye.